The site for the Waterfront Botanical Gardens lies within the boundaries of one of Louisville's oldest areas, known as the Point. In the early days, the Point was populated with the antebellum summer homes of prosperous French families from New Orleans who came north to escape the heat. Over time, the Point evolved as a working-class neighborhood with a mixture of small factories and mills, frame cottages, and small brick homes. Adding to the character, shanty boats were often parked along Beargrass Creek nearby. Christian Heigold immigrated to Kentucky in the 1850s and built a house in the Ohio Street neighborhood. Following the devastating floods of 1937 and the early 1940s, the Heigold house was the only house left standing. Mayor Charles Farnsley saved the facade of the house to preserve the original style of the neighborhood, but sadly, the remaining area was condemned and became the Ohio Street dump. Because trash transported to the dump often contained ash and hot coals from coal-burning fireplaces, the Ohio Street dump frequently caught fire and would smolder for days. When I-71 was completed in the late 1960s, the proximity of the dump made it an unattractive gateway to the city, and in 1973, the Ohio Street dump closed. An 8-year, multi-step closing plan was initiated in order to meet public health requirements and stringent EPA rules for filling and stabilizing the site. Water runoff, gas release, and soil testing have been performed since the 1980s and show the area to be stable. Although there are no pollutants that are harmful to visitors, the site is under a management plan with the Energy and Environment Cabinet of Kentucky to properly manage the garbage and cap any exposed areas. Botanica Inc. was formed as a non-profit organization to build a botanical garden for Louisville. In the early 2000s, Botanica approached the city about acquiring the 23-acre site. A development agreement was forged between the two parties, and the volunteer board of directors began to research the 135 deeds of the neighborhood. The goal was to consolidate them into one deed so that Botanica could purchase the property. That research took 6 years. Finally, in 2017, Botanica purchased the site from the city of Louisville for $1 with the intent and restriction to build a botanical garden. In 2014, Botanica Inc. hired architects Perkins and Will to design a master plan for the site. With this new master plan, fundraising began in order to raise an estimated $65 million for the 3-phase project. In 2019, the organization officially changed its name to Waterfront Botanical Gardens, and the Grazer Family Education Center and surrounding gardens were opened in October 2019. Fundraising and continued development of this project is essential in order to show visitors what an urban botanical garden can do to promote education, economic development, and neighborhood revitalization on the site of a former landfill. This is where we began. We are the Waterfront Botanical Gardens, and this is where we grow.